Hello everyone, and as always, welcome back to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we find, learn, and play one more turn of the great strategy games. And today it's back into the big one, Gary Grigsby's War in the East 2. This is their Let's Play against the Soviet AI. And it is now April 11th, 1943, if you can believe it. That is turn 95. So we made it past the turn 94 check, and now we're into turn 95. The mud has hit, and because of that, the Soviets were very, very passive last time out. We saw no attacks, and thank goodness. It's going to give us a little bit of a chance to recalibrate, if you will, reconstitute in some cases, and to reform our line a little bit. So, sorry didn't do a live stream this weekend. It's the first time in a very long time I haven't done a live stream over the weekend. Baby shower. We had a baby shower. Also, I didn't feel very well on Friday. Tried to rally for the baby shower. We had a great time and it all worked out just fine. But wasn't able to live stream, so I decided to put up this video on Monday. Usually we take Monday off, obviously. And then I'll be back on the live stream tomorrow. That'll be Tuesday, March 22nd. But I thought we've got some air things to do. We got to look at the reserves. We got to look at all of our stats. So I thought, why don't I record an episode on Monday here? And, you know, just kind of take stock of where we currently stand. Okay, so last time we lost 2,646. That's probably the lowest of the game, for sure, I would think. 139 artillery pieces, 29 AFVs, and 49 aerocraft. And then on the map, so these are the OB changes, on the map we have gained 33,000, nearly 34,000 this turn, 170 artillery, 165 AFVs. We did lose 73 aircraft off of the map. The Soviets gained 22,715, 1,052 on the artillery pieces, just like every other turn, right? They always gain 1,000 artillery pieces, it seems. 634 AFVs, so you know, a lot of tanks coming in as they kind of reorganize during the mud turns here, and they brought a lot of aircraft onto the map. 2267, and I think we're going to have to match that, and that's another reason I wanted to record this before we get into tomorrow, you know, with the live stream, where I like to do the ground action. You know, I thought we'd set up our air forces here. It's not always the most scintillating stuff. Now, I shouldn't say that, right? I should tell you it's the most exciting thing you'll see all week. But, you know, setting up the different AOGs, and we'll get into all that as we go. But let's keep going down the stats. Our logistics are still fine. We now have 57,000 trucks in repair. At one time, we were pushing 130,000. But that's also when we were a little closer to Moscow than we are now. You can see we did have a deficit this time, a tons differential. I think some of that could be because we're bringing a lot of stuff back in from the reserves. It's giving us some tons differential here, because if you look at the tons received of supply to what we're asking for, we actually look pretty good there. So I'm not really sure on that one. I mean, we haven't had much of a tons differential at all, but I'm just guessing. I mean, we brought a lot in from the reserves. They have to move by rail, and that could possibly be the cause. We'll certainly look and make sure we're getting all the ammunition we need. I think that our, you know, depots now are really well set. We'll see as we go around the map. You know, I don't want to speculate until I've kind of drilled down and checked it out. We've got 215 counters currently on the map. 52 of them are in low supply. So, okay, we do have some, and we're going to look at that over here on supply alert. So who's having a supply problem? Well, this is not good. We are having a supply problem into Pskov, it shows. We'll certainly have to look that over. We didn't fly into Pskov this time, and maybe we were getting a lot more out of those flights than I thought we were. I mean, the reason I didn't do it this time is because the Soviets were knocking some of our transports out of the air. But looking at that, maybe it's worth it. I mean, even if we lose some transports, because we certainly can't get a supply problem into Pskov. As a matter of fact, if we just take this off for a second, even though we're in the air planning, we could look. And you can see, I mean, we did all right with, you know, food. You know, fuel doesn't matter quite as much. Certainly, they're infantry, but 73, 70, and 77 on the bullets. That's a little more concerning on the ammunition. So, you know, we need to be a little careful there, and maybe we'll fly some flights in there and see what happens. Because we, you know, obviously we just can't lose Pskov. It's too much of a cornerstone of our defense at this point. All right, let's get the turn summary back up there and check it out. So the supply alerts, as we look down here, Pskov was a problem. We have an something in orange there, and let's just see what that is. Hopefully it's just a headquarters. 87, 125. Well, I mean, I'm not really seeing... Is it the headquarters itself that's orange? Again, I'm not seeing... I'm not really seeing the problem there. Let's do this one more time. Okay, well, that's showing up yellow. I thought I saw an orange here, but maybe it was just this orange going back. Because, you know, obviously that's showing you the command, and when it goes back in orange like that, right, it's going to its commanding unit. As we come down here, we've got a unit here that seems to be in a little bit of a problem. I guess I can take that off since we know what we're looking at. I think it's an ammunition problem for most of these. You know, that's what it appears to be, because the food looks all right. So supply alerts down in here, we were going to have some problems, right? Because we've got that Minsk salient, and you know, we're just going to have some problems getting supply in there. We'll check them out when we go around. The Hungarians have gotten knocked really hard, and because of that, they could have had some logistics problems, certainly. Out in the middle of the swamp, the Pripyat marshes, we're going to have, you know, and again, it's Hungarians here. Got a few problems, mainly Romanian units there with some supply problems, and then a lot of supply problem over here. Now you can see the mud has moved in here, and when the mud moves in, your logistics slow way down, and that could be a big cause of this deficit. You know, again, it doesn't look like a food deficit necessarily. It's more of a material deficit, so guns and whatnot, because this looks really low to me, 55-49. So I think that that's maybe where the problem was this time. If we look over in the Crimea, it's just a few of these Romanian units, but for the most part, we got some decent supply out here. Now, I've been flying it out there, of course, so that helps. That helps. It's all in mud out here in the Crimea, so a lot easier to defend, certainly, and we're going to have to make sure as units get withdrawn, and we've still got a few more to go, that we're, you know, accounting for that. Let's put it that way. Strength alerts. Let's see who's in bad shape here. Well, you see two Romanian units out here in pretty bad shape. You see an orange unit under here, but we already knew that was in trouble, and we've got a couple others in trouble. One here, a lot of yellow here. Now we're bringing new divisions in, right? But still, that's a real problem. And we've got to get this taken care of, because we can't have him push through here, not only take Odessa, but turn the Romanians against us. Not that the Romanians are great shakes, but we need every man out here we can get. Now you can see a real problem in the center here, just to the northeast of Lvov, now called Lviv, I guess, when I watch the news, but we're going to call it Lvov since the game does. So we've got some orange there. We got some yellow here. Not a huge deal there. These are Luftwaffe field divisions, so not as worried about that. This German unit, I believe, that could be a Luftwaffe field division as well. But as you can see, this last turn, the Soviets actually pushed up here quite a bit more. There was some talk in the comments about Brest-Litovsk, and someone brought up the fact that he snuck in here, he being the AI, snuck in here and took Brest-Litovsk for a turn. Now, when that happens, there's a Polish call-up for the Soviets, but that had already happened, and I went back and read the rule book about that. That had already happened earlier in 42, and so the Soviets have already gotten that advantage. That was a good eagle eye. I like the call there, but it had already happened, so him getting in here just for a turn didn't really change that. But you'll remember last winter, you know, of course, the AI had pushed all the way out here before we did the big, massive encirclement in the marshes. And because of that, the Soviet player, whether it be the AI or a human, gets a bump, a manpower bump. And so just something to keep in mind there as far as defending Brest-Litovsk. So two things to keep in mind. Brest-Litovsk for Polish reinforcements, as a train goes by my house. And then Romanians, there are certain towns in Romania that if the Soviets take that, they get, the Romanians flip sides. So our stalwart allies become turn around and shoot at us. What is this, Order 66? It's like Star Wars. We've got a lot of orange out here. We're going to have to deal with that. But I think all of this can get out this time, or at least I hope so. We'll see. As we come up here, we got a little bit in orange there. Orange, orange, orange. Just some units to keep in mind here as we go around. Now, these are just the the fortifications. That's no big deal. But anyway, okay, so we've taken a peek at that. As you see the points, the most important thing to look at here, 524, sudden victory would be 575. That will be tested on turn 107. So we got about 12 turns here before we get that test, and we got to hold him off of. He could get 3 cities as things stand right now. We just can't allow him to get 4. Or we can't allow him to get a major city that's worth more than 10 plus the bonus. So anyway, we'll check that out as we go along and talk about different points as we move down the map. Let's go to breaking news. I'll go back and look at the reinforcements in just 1 second, but let's look at breaking news. RAF raids 1943. During 43, the American USAAF, it says RAF, Royal Air Force, but the USAAF medium and heavy bombers begin hitting the Axis during the day in relentless bombing raids, okay? While the British continue to use their expertise in radar and night actions to keep the fight going during the critical nighttime hours. Target, manpower, damage 60, radius 50, raids 1. We haven't talked as much about this kind of stuff because ultimately you can't control it. And I feel like I try to talk as much as I can about things we can actually control as opposed to things sort of out of our control. We're going to lose some manpower because of this, but there's really nothing you can do about it other than be aware of it, right? Okay, we're going to have less manpower upcoming here, and so it's just something to keep in mind. I keep putting things back in the reserves. I'm not sure this would really change my gameplay at all, right? I knew playing the Germans, or the Axis, I should say, that eventually we're going to run into manpower problems and be overwhelmed by Soviet manpower. I don't think that that's a real mystery to anyone, but this is just telling you what's going on. Soviet partisans, we're not controlling the garrison box, so this is just always 1 or 2. The AI keeps it that way. RAF long-range raids, again, targeting manpower over occupied Europe. And then 8th Air Force raids early 43. Wow, there's a lot of raiding going on, but rail yards, heavy industry, we're going to get less and less output, less and less manpower, so on and so forth. You get the idea. I don't like to read bad news. Okay, let's go back here to the reinforcements. We got a lot in this time. A lot in. Now, only 1 brand new reinforcement, but we got a lot of things from the reserves. A lot of things, got turned out from the reserves that we rebuilt. 217th Infantry Division. We got this corps that I put on the map. Am I reading that right? Yep, that's, I took a corps, put it out on the map. We got the 211th, the 212th. We got the 4th Panzer Division came out. Grossdeutschland came back out. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That went into the Axis Reserve. I put it back in the Axis Reserves. But then we got the 282nd, the 205th, and the 251st all came back on the map. So we got a lot coming back on this time. And as you could see, looking down the strength indicators, got to get a big portion of that to the south, right? We got to get it down there because we've got a lot of worn out units. They've been sitting there forever. They've been attacked multiple times, and we've just got to get down there and try to replace as much of that as we can. Another thing I'll point out here is we've only got 18 AP. I've switched up a lot of the generals as we've been going along here. Just in certain cases, you've seen most of that. When I've seen a general that's terrible at mech, or, as a general maybe got killed or got promoted or got whatever the case may be, we've tried to replace anybody that's just, look, German generals ought to be starting at 6s for everything, but really at this point you ought to be demanding 7s and some 8s for the stats. And the big ones, of course, are morale, infantry, mech. You know, initiative matters, administrative matters, but they're not as important as morale, which is probably the #1 most important thing. And then whatever they're going to control. If they're an infantry general, then their infantry score obviously is super important. If they're a mech general, you know, an armored or a motorized general, that's going to, you know, that score matters. Some of these guys, though, just the way the game has worked out, we've had to put in charge of both. So we'll take a corps and we'll maybe have 1 motorized unit and 3 infantry units in it, and they need to at least be acceptable. You know, I really would like them to at least be a 6, but there's a couple places on the map where we have 5s for the mech score. In those, I try to only give them 1 motorized division, and that only out of necessity. So just something to think about as we move forward. Okay, let's go look at the order of battle. All right, I'd like to take a look at that. We're a little under 2.5 million men on the map. For the Germans, 196 back in the reserves. Total force is 5.2, but, you know, half of our stuff is over in the theater boxes. 25,000 guns, 2,820 AFVs. Got 302 in the reserves, 1915 for the artillery in the reserves. Got a lot of planes. Over the majority of our planes are back in the reserves. For the Axis allies, we actually do have a decent number of planes back there. We've got 60, not much artillery, and really not much manpower back there. The Soviets, we don't really know what their reserves are. They've got 5.8 million, almost 5.9 million on the map. Okay. You know, 5.6 million of that ready forces ready to go, including almost 12,000 AFVs, 10,000 of them ready, 76,000 artillery. All of those, wow, all of those are ready to go. Great. And, you know, we could go through here and look. You can always expand these, right? You can see what's in Army Group A and Army Group North and Center and South, so on and so forth. You can see Army Group A has got a lot more than Army Group South. We may want to kind of even those up a little bit. 967 AFVs in Army Group A. Okay. That's that. You can always expand that out. So we'll get rid of that. Order of battle. Let's go to the losses. We're now up to 3.326 million men, almost 53,000 guns, 9,302 AFVs. The Soviets, meanwhile, over 10 million, 10.1 million. So we're still running that 3-to-1. It's been very consistent 3-to-1 for a very long time. And same with the guns. It's almost exactly 3-to-1. Maybe just a little bit less now, but pretty much 3-to-1. AFVs have been running, you know, 5-to-1, and that's still what they are. But again, it's not good enough. You need 5 there, you know, probably 7 there, 6 or 7-to-1, and then you need probably 8-to-1 here. So not good enough. Well, we keep struggling along. We keep slogging along. You know, I still think we can do it here, but it's a challenge. It's a challenge every turn, certainly. Let's look at the production screens here. You can see the Germans now have 79,000 men in the pool. The Hungarians have 103,000. Romanians, Slovaks, you know, we've got men to replace our losses. We would certainly like these Germans to be, you know, much bigger, but every time we're sending things back into the reserves, they're rebuilding fairly well. The problem is, because we've gotten things so worn down, we've had to send so much back to the reserves, the things on the map aren't getting what they need. And so, okay, you know, fuel stores, oil stores, this would be much more important if we were on the offensive, certainly. Supply in the units, ammo in units, fuel in units. You know, this game just breaks down everything. Baltic troop ships, Black Sea troop ships. The cargo, we've now only got 4 Baltic cargo ships and 7 Black Sea, and these are the important ones, right? Because we've got to get over to Sevastopol on those Black Sea cargo ships, certainly. Okay, so that's that. Now let's go to our charts. You know, I love the charts. And you can see we gave up Minsk, and so the Soviets went from 509 to 524. Okay. let's go to manpower losses, and you can see it was just very, very minimal last time. There was no attacking. I did very little attacking from the Axis side, and the Soviets did no attacking at all. Now, there's still attrition, right? And that's one thing I maybe don't talk as much about. But part of the reason some of those German units in the south are getting worn down is not just because of the attacks you see, but every turn there's attrition. If they're next to Soviet forces. And that's why, as people have mentioned in the comments, and they're absolutely correct, you want to be rotating your units off the line every few turns, right? We just haven't been in a position to do that, and maybe you'll be in the same position. Many people are as the Axis. You just don't have a chance to do that because you're so overwhelmed with Soviet manpower. But ideally, what you like to do is get them off the line when you can. Gun losses, we can look through here, but there just weren't a whole lot of losses last time because there weren't a whole lot of attacks, all right? Total men, let's go to map men. There is the map men, 5.882. We're at 3.373. Map guns, 31,000, 76,000. And at one point we had gotten this down to, I'm going to say, we had about 10,000 more artillery pieces than us. Now that's 35, or I was going to say 35, 45,000 more artillery pieces, 2.5 to 1 there, right? Map AFVs, he's up to 11,820, and we've got 3,000. Moving on. Like I said, I don't like to read bad news. He obviously got a big Lend-Lease shipment, or he just decided, let's put a lot more aircraft on the map. Look at that. Hyperbolic, 8,467. What is this, Bitcoin? And we're at 1250. Now, when we put our what we have in the reserves on the map, we'll be at about 3,000, but he's still kind of got a, it's almost a 3-to-1 advantage there. Boo. Let's look at the weather, though, because the weather is now cutting in our favor, and you can see here it's still, snow on the map here. You can see that on the ground, so it's not pure mud yet, but the weather in the air, you can see the rain, and when we get to the end of the turn, it's really raining on the main central part of the map. It's also, this is heavy rain in the dark blue. The lighter blue is just regular rain. Let's go back and look at this again. Yeah, it's still just cold here for the start of the turn. By the end of the week, though, it's rain everywhere, and I guess that's why the Soviets have decided to kind of wait, pull back a little bit, and maybe not do as much attacking. All right, so that's our usual stats. Let's go down the map then and just kind of check things out, see what it looks like. The Narva line, as always. Now, I've brought in a new division here. You can see it on the train. It's underneath the headquarters. I guess I can just bring these up now over here since we're not looking at the turn summary. And we're gonna put this out on the line and take the weakest that we have, put it here in the fortification, and try to let it rebuild a little bit. As I was talking about the attrition, now, we could take it all the way back to the headquarters, but this unit, 8,502 men. It's got a 49 on the TOE right now. Just not good enough. We've got 14,000 up here, 78. We've got 11,000 here, 75. That's not great. We've got 10,000 there and 64. So as you can see, I'm going to try to rotate one off the line each time. Now, I don't want these to move too much, right? We want to keep those combat prep points in case we get attacked. You want to have the combat prep points, but ultimately we've got to do a little revolving here because we need units in other places. We just can't put too many divisions up here when this is held for so long. It's been so good to us and allowed us to have divisions in other places. We just don't have the divisions to stick up here, unfortunately. Now, as we bring more things in the reserves, maybe we can afford to bring one more up here, but I doubt it. Frankly. Down the line here, we saw those strength alerts. There are a couple of units out here, certainly. I think this is an obvious one, 377th, that are not in great shape. He's in a level 1 fort. He got knocked back a couple of turns ago. Not last turn, but a couple of turns ago, and the Soviets have pushed out on him here a little bit. This is a brand new division. these guys are not in good shape either. So they, you know, these divisions right here, we got to be very wary of, and we may have to bring one of these reinforcements up there. Do I have any reinforcements back here? Nope, we've just got KG3 sitting there, which is, we'll look at the air commands here in just a little bit. Okay, moving down, you know, again, it's going to be all about getting stuff out of Minsk here. Just got to get it out, you know, and I think most of this we can get out. Now, we can't see the movement here because we're still in the air planning phase, but I'm pretty sure that we can get most of this out because it's at 3 wide, and that's the key. You just can't let it get down to 2, because when you let it get down to 2 and you get squeezed like that, then the zone of control comes into play, and you can only move a few hexes. I say that from experience as we pulled back from Moscow, Stalino, and other places where we have had that problem. So I did everything I could here to keep this 3 wide, and I think now we can get it all out, but we will find out shortly, won't we? The Hungarians are in bad shape here, and as we pull some of this out, it's got to come around the corner and hold this line here. Now, luckily, we've got some defensible terrain if we get here, if we get these guys around here to help out. This has become a huge problem because, you know, it's very defensible terrain, but we only have Luftwaffe field divisions out here. That ain't going to cut it, gentlemen. Right here, this is, you know, the rebuilt divisions we have come in at Warsaw, and we've got, you know, 217th ID with 14, almost 15,000 men. We've got 251st with almost 15,000 men. Again, you know, they're coming out with about 15,000 men and about 88 on their TOE. So good enough. I mean, we had to move them out here, but that's kind of the state of play. And then 4th Panzer Division comes out with 217 AFVs. Let's just go look at the setup there. We've got some Martyr 2s in here now, some Vespies. So we're starting to get, you know, the more 1943 type of stuff. And what is the TOE that we're on right now? It is 43A Panzer Division. So you can see here what's we're a little light on. We don't have as many recon tanks as we'd like, not quite as many medium tanks, but we're actually not too bad there. We are not cranking out much artillery out of Germany, and that's becoming a real problem, certainly. Light tank destroyers we're a little light on. Again, artillery we're a little light on. Flak, we're certainly light on flak. Flak and artillery, we're just not making enough of them, it seems. Medium field guns, we have 3 instead of 4. You know, we keep going on and on. I always really like this screen. I think it's very interesting. But if we look down at the tank loadout that we have here in this division, Panzer 4Gs, I mean, that's really nice tanks. 65 of those. This Panzer 4G type, not sure what the difference is between these two, but we've got 74 more. I mean, hell, that's 140 Panzer 4Gs. That division can do some damage with those tanks, certainly. 23 Ns and just 9. These are the scout tanks, right? The 1Bs. So these are all medium tanks up here. These are the scout smaller tanks. The Vespi, the Martyr, I think are considered guns technically, because they're just kind of tracked guns. Yeah, we got, you know, some howitzers here. We have like 12, but I would imagine our loadout should be like 15 or 20. So we're just light on that kind of stuff. AA guns, AT guns, we're a little light on. Okay, good to know. I mean, still, this is probably the best division we've got on the map now, so that is very welcome. And then if we go back to Berlin, we've got the 282nd ID, 16,683 men. It comes out at a full 100 TOE, and you can see we're in the 43 infantry TOE. This is the model, the template, and we got 100% of it all. 336 rifle squads, 36 engineer squads. You can see we even got our infantry guns and heavy infantry, artillery, AT, you know, so on and so forth. We got it all, mortars and whatnot. And that is a very nice, powerful division for us at this point in the game. Probably got to take that sucker south and set that up somewhere near Odessa. I'm sure that's what we'll be looking to do. All right, let's go to our reserves here, and we'll go to the ground first. And if we pull over here, you can see now 23rd Panzer Division. It's got 210 AFVs in it. It's up to a TOE of 79. Now, I've been trying to build that. These battalions, if we look at their TOE, what they're supposed to be getting, they're a 43 Panzer Battalion. 96 medium tanks is what we'd be looking for. I'm just not sure if it's worth building these up and attaching them to something, or if I would be better off just leaving them here and letting things on the map rebuild. I don't know. Panzer Grenadier here. What is this supposed to be getting? Light tank destroyers, mortar, heavy mortar. Now, we had to just move this back into the reserves. You can tell because it's pink, meaning we can't put it back on the map. Now, this is something I'm probably going to go ahead and put refit on. And also with Gross Deutschland, the motorized unit, I'm going to put refit on both of those. This Panzer Division, I'm going to turn refit off, and I'm going to move it back to the map. I know it's only at 79. I really would rather they be at 80 or 85. A lot of the things we've been bringing back have been at 88. But at this point, we need those Panzer Divisions. It's now the spring. It's no longer winter. They should, not have those kind of winter mechanical problems, right? So I'm going to bring it back on. 122nd Infantry, we're going to turn the refit off, and we're going to put that on the map at 87%. Yes. And then there go. That's the 122nd. Off he goes. And then the 46th, we're going to turn refit off, and we'll put the 46th back on the map. I'm really hoping to get all this back on the map, and then hopefully the stuff on the map will start rebuilding. Now, these Jaeger Division, I'm not sure why this didn't rebuild a little faster. I don't like that. I'm not going to go dig into the TOE. We've already looked at a few of these. But I guess I'm going to have to leave it in here. Refit off, and back to the map you go. Maybe this time I'll kind of... Well, it's been working prioritizing some of these. As you can see, the infantry division right next to it is stuck on 25. This went up to 86 because we have the refit on in the reserves. You can't give it higher priority than that. There we go. Okay, is that it? Well, we've got this Romanian infantry division. I guess we'll go ahead and turn that back out to the map. All right, and now, we're starting to get down here where we've, taken a lot of things and rebuilt them, certainly. I'm going to leave that Jaeger here. I'm not going to put any more Jaegers on refit because, okay, now I'm just going to look, aren't I? I knew I was going to look, but let's look at its TOE template and see what it's not getting. All right, it's kind of 69, 70, 75 in that range, but you can see its infantry guns, heavy infantry, and light AT guns are really dragging it down. I mean, if those would have come in to the extent everything else did, I think we'd maybe turn it back out to the map because it is just one of these Jaeger divisions. Here's the thing. I don't really want that to be getting some of those things. I want them to be going into the regular divisions. So I think I am going to turn refit off and put it on the map, even at 68, because more than anything, I could let it just sit here like the other Jaeger divisions, like this one, for instance, but I don't want it to be taking any of those AT guns, any of that artillery. I want that to go into full German divisions. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And then, are there any of these advanced 25, 27, 28? These are all 28s. 37 here. All right, so I guess we'll put refit on there. It's pink this time, but by the time it rebuilds next time, it'll be ready to go back to the map. 167th. Well, let's just come over here. It's a 28. We'll turn refit on there. 61st, refit on there. We've been doing about 5 each time. Now, I do have Gross Deutschland and this Panzer Grenadier division, so I think I'll just leave it for there this time. The cavalry unit, not going to worry about that. Hey, that's a decent flak unit, the Marine flak. I feel like this has been back here for a while. Am I crazy? I don't know why this is pink. I feel like it's been back here for several turns. Maybe it was a different Marine flak that I was seeing, because usually this just means you can't move it out this time. But as you can see, we're not rebuilding flak, whether they're being refitted or not. Most of that's going out to full divisions. And it's just not coming into these support units. Do we have any of the support guns that we can move it back out? It looks like we do not. We're just not producing enough artillery. We're not producing enough anti-aircraft, and we're not producing enough well, of any of this stuff. I was going to keep going on. AT guns, on and on and on. Engineer units, okay, no big deal there. We've got some construction battalions back here that we could move out, especially with the Hungarians. I don't know why they're just sitting on their... I'm sure. Let's put them on the map. I don't know why they're just sitting back here. Map? Yes. I guess that other one I guess the other one I didn't take. Map. Yes. Tell you what, well, let's just do it. Let's just do it. That's the purpose of me recording the episode, is to take care of this ministerial kind of thing. All right, to the map you go. If you hear an abrupt stop to your recording, it's because my little puppy starts to bark. She loves to lay at my feet when I record these now. It's really sweet, but she can have a tendency to get very excited if something happens in and around me. And so, of course, this is a professional studio. Who would have their pup there? Well, she brings me comfort. All right. Well, I'm just moving them all back to the map. They're all at 100%. So all of these construction units, there's no reason to have them sit here, certainly. We can put them out at OKH or at Hungarian High Command, and who knows? I don't know. We may need them. We've done, quite a bit of digging in this time. We've got a lot of construction battalions in every corps. I've got at least 2, so we haven't had a shortage of them, but there's just absolutely no reason to have them back here at 100%. Especially in the situation we're in. If nothing else, take a spade and hit somebody over the top of the head. Alright, one more to go. As I just, I'm going to break the internet with the excitement of moving those guys out. Okay, that's all good. Now let's go to the air. And this is really kind of what I wanted to, take a real close peek at this time. Oh, that zoom always is just not quite great. Fighters. We've got Romanian fighters. We've got 11 of them there, and we've got 19 of them there. So this is 53rd Romanian, 8th Romanian. We've got some other Romanians here. I'd like to bring those fighters back on. Why not? Why wouldn't we? It's time to do it. Now, it's going to be in the rain here. But we see Romanian Air Command is down here. We could try to fly these in the Crimea, but I think we want them, kind of in this area, right? Out here by Luftwaffe 4. So Romanian Air Command is there. And if I go down, let's just look for a good air base to put these at. We got level 2 there. As a matter of fact, map info, let's take all of this off. Oh my God, we lost the war. No. But this allows us to see the air bases a lot better if we take the units off. So we've got, a couple right in here. Bodasani. I'm not sure what that one is. Here's a level 2 at Chernovsky. And this is also on a rail line. That works. So let's go here at Chernovsky and bring an AOG in from the reserve. But I like to do it, bring air groups in from the reserve. And if we look here... Air group, nope. AOG, we're going to want it to be we could do the Romanian air combat. I always think they could make this a lot easier than they do as far as the commands go. Romanian Air Command. Nope, that's not going to work. It's not going to come up. Well, maybe this is part of the problem. 0, the from value, 0, the to value, 100. Okay, that'll show us. Oh, it's only going to let us bring it back on if it's 55. Ready, 0 to 100, morale. Okay. I don't want it to have this search, though. Morale, 0 to 100. Because their morale is not going to be that high, is it? 75, 99? Hold on. He's going to pause. All right, I'm back. I'm back. Sometimes I just have to go back and refresh my memory exactly how you do it. So we're on Chernovsky Air Base. We're going to bring a new AOG in from the reserve. Who are we going to bring in? You ask. We are going to bring in, we could bring in, it's going to be Romanian, 1st Romanian Fighter Flotilla. Let's just pick that one. And now you see the 8th Romanian Fighter Group and the 53rd Romanian Fighter Squadron. Perfect. Those are the 2 Romanians that are in here. Now, it's showing in Luftwaffe 4. Let's put that in Romanian Air Command. It'd probably be better in Luftwaffe 4, but I'm just going to do it this way. Multiple air bases, no. We want to go right into Chernovsky. So transfer, yes. There they are. 1st Romanian Fighter Flotilla. We've got 30, and we'll have to then set the Romanian Air Command's air directives, right? And we will do just that. Let's go back to the reserves, though, and see who else we want to bring out of here. No more Romanian fighters, I don't think. 6th Romanian we could maybe bring out. 5th Romanian, I'm just going to leave these back here. You know, it's 14, 21 planes. If those Romanians get blown up that we just brought onto the map, we'll come back here. Now, who do we have for fighter bombers, and where do we want to put them? Maybe most importantly, JG-52, we've got most of that back here, including the Stab. Now, the Stab, we could probably, you know, just disband that and let it go into other stuff, but let's not. Stab 3, 1 of 52. Is any other part of JG-52 back here? I don't see it. JG-26 is back here, but that JG-52, do we have JG-52 already on the map? Well, I don't know. Let's back up. Let's find out. We've got JG-3. No, nothing there. Most of this I want to put in the south. There's JG-52. All right, it's sitting here. It's got these, you know, parts of JG3, parts of JG4. So as you can see, just because it's part of JG52, you don't have to have, you know, those parts always be part of that AOG. They can get mixed and matched, certainly. But out here at Kurovich, this is probably a decent place to have it. We've got a level 2 airfield there, although that's getting a little close to the front, maybe for my liking. We could put them in Stanislav. You know, I mean, there's a lot of action along here, obviously. We could put them down in this area, although there aren't that many great airfields here. I think maybe Stanislav? So let's bring an air group in from the reserve, and you can see the 2 parts of JG-52 we just saw there. We have this, I think that 190A. Yeah, let's go ahead and grab that. Oh, it's reached its command points. Well, we'll fix that in 1 second. Let's get out of here then, and let's go back to JG-52. JG-52, he said. And let's take the parts of JG3 here. Let's take that and get it out of JG-52. We'll just put it as part of JG3, and we'll go find JG3. How about JG4? I don't think we have JG4 on the map. We could put it in 51, 54, and fly it up there, right? We could also give it to 1 Flieger Corps so that it doesn't have a definite. Let's do that. We'll put that up in 1 Flieger Corps, and then we'll give it a different command once we get up there. Now this only has the 33 of 190As, and we can go to Stanislav. We'll bring air groups from the reserve. Now you can see JG-52. We can get all that. I'm not going to bring the part of JG-26 in here, even though it's got the most aircraft. I'm going to put those somewhere else. But now we've got 39, 39, and 4. That all looks good. We can go across multiple air bases there if it wants to. Luftwaffe 4, JG-52. They've all been reunited. What's up, guys? They're going to sit around, have a drink tonight, talk about the war and what's been going on. You can see they put in part of it at Kurovici and part of it at Stanislav, and there is JG-52 with 115 now fighter bombers. Well, I think maybe these are just, nope, they're all fighter bombers. Okay. Yep, the 190A is a fighter bomber. You know, we could go and look at all this, but I'm not going to. So we've got a few more fighters out here in JG52, kind of in this southern quadrant. If we do the range circles, you can see we probably need to get them a little closer up to the front, but at least they're covering the front line here, all the way down to the mud here at the Dniester, I should say, before somebody yells at me. But you can see, you know, with their range circles, they're covering, you know, a decent amount of the front line all the way up to here with the 190As. These 190As only go to here because they're down in Stanislav. We may want to move all of them up to Kuravici. I'll take a look at that at some point. Okay, let's go back to the reserves, see what else we could maybe grab here. When it comes to the fighter bombers, we've got a ZG-1. Now, I think those fighter bombers, they've been operating as bombers. That's what I thought. That's why they're ZG. We also have, interesting, these fighter bombers as bombers. Okay. The STGs, right? And then these fighter bombers as bombers. When you see the STG, so man, we have fewer fighters even than I thought we had, and I didn't think we had that many. Now, JG-26, those have been operating as fighters. The 109G2, JG-26, I'm not really sure where that's been operating. Let's go look. I'm not sure we have any more of it left on the map. We could put that in JG3 potentially, or we could put it way down in the south, kind of in its own. So JG52, that's what we just dealt with. JG54, how many planes does he have? Only 40. So I think we put in that that fighter group here. Bring in air group. There it is, JG26. It's going to go into JG54. Perfect. Yeah, over multiple air bases. If it wants to go somewhere close, that's fine. So now it wants to come in at Tudora. Okay, perfect. So now we've got 75 planes in JG54, but that's really it for the fighters. I mean, and that's really what I wanted to bring on this time was the fighters. The bombers, I maybe will bring some on, but, you know, until we're going to start our offensive, really the reason I want the fighters out here is it appears the Soviets are bombing our cities, bombing some production, and I just want to get some fighters out here. We don't have any in the north, and maybe I should put something out there. I don't think we really have anything left to put. I could have put that 26 in there, but you saw that JG way down in the south there just didn't have a whole lot. So, you know, look, I mean, we've cleared out the fighters and the fighter bombers for the most part. We could put the Hungarians out there, certainly, but the ZG2, those are fighters. Yay! All right, we'll take that then. The ZG2s, let's put those in the north. We just don't have any fighters up here. And so let's go in. Here's a level 2 airfield. I mean, we could get really bold and put it there. We could put it in Pskov, but I don't really want to do that. Let's bring it here and bring an air group in from the reserve. And I want to take that off, and I just want to put fighter bombers. Okay, ZG1, right? Nope, that wasn't it. It was ZG2. That's it. Now, who do we want to put that in as an AOG? Let's see if we have a JG down here that can serve as, well, you see JG51, but that's not what we want to put it in. JG54, 52, JG3. You can see these can command up to 45 aircraft, 35 of 45. I don't think we have any JG commands that are free, right? I don't think we do. JG51's in the north, correct? Let's look at this again. Yeah, JG51's there. We could put it in under JG51, although it's a long ways away from JG51. Okay, but let's do that. Fighter bombers. There's the ZG2. What are the planes in the ZG1? The ME410A. I'm just not familiar with that. All right, let's put this in JG51. I think there was space in there, right? We've fought the one. Luflata 1. Why am I not seeing that pop up now? Hold on. Let's try this again. Valmira Air Base. Right? Is that the right one? Bring air groups in from the reserve. Correct. Let's bring in ZG2. Correct. 234 plus 9. Are these double engine aircraft? They must be. That's the problem. I can't really put them in one Flieger Corps. They may have to go straight up to the Luftflotte. Okay, I guess that's what we're going to have to do. So it's going to have to be in Luftflotte 1. Could be over multiple air base. Nah, let's just do it over the one, on the one air base. So now they're in here, but they're under Luftflotte 1. We're going to have to give them a different command eventually. If I come out here and I click on this, could I then give him to the JG? No. It doesn't have enough points to pop him in there. I could put him in one Flieger Corps. That at least gives him 2 layers of command. The Flieger Corps is way down here, obviously, and if we get off here and scoot back, there's one Flieger Corps up in the north. So that gives it 2 layers of command. But I'd like to maybe get this JG-51 up there. The other JG, JG-3, he's in Kurovich and Vilnius. Okay, that makes no sense. We're going to have to then take part, whatever's here at Vilnius. Oh, there's a lot at Vilnius. He's got a lot of different planes here. You can see JG3. He's got some other stuff in here too. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to sort that offline so that when we come back next time, we're on the ground. We already talked about what we're going to be looking to do. You can see this takes up quite a bit, but there's no reason for JG3 to be that far split. Not when we have JG51 up here as well. So I'll work on those air commands, and when we come back next time, we'll get after it. This has been Strategy Gaming Dojo. Can't wait to live stream with you guys again tomorrow. Hope you're having a good one, and we'll talk then. Till next time, adios.